Terrific job in keeping this.
Can he win the Champagne?
Well, he's on that run. He'll be very hard to beat. I thought he was struggling a bit, but he dug deep and found plenty.
Flavour in the Galaxy, Greg. Can you make it 2 Group 1s for the day?
Why not?
Why not? There's a very confident Greg Childs from Melbourne. Kenny, back to you.
Where was he from again, Simon?
He's from Melbourne, buddy.
I thought he might. I think he wanted to stress that, Darren, didn't he?
They stick like glue, those Melburnians.
They sure do.
They only come to the party when they're winning, but...
The slower tempo, I think, of the race suited this horse. He's got natural speed, just pipped by Laurie's Lottery in the Todman trial. Was good form.
It was. He could really dictate terms, and Greg's a great judge of pace. You know, and O'Sullivan's, like, he's a remarkable trainer. They did win the size today in New Zealand, so it's a size in New Zealand and a size here in Australia.
And as Paul said to you, the dollars are worth a few more, Bob, over here.
Exactly, that's right.
Is the right way to put it. Okay, as Greg Childs brings Alf back to scale, we'll take a break and then be back with more racing from both Caulfield and Renwick on the wide world of sports.
What a tough little horsey.
Well, there he is, the Kiwi Alf. Too good for the Aussies in the Size Produce Stakes. And there's the connections. Do you think they're enjoying it? Are they what? Back to Alf. And you can cheer now, kids, because he's got the prize. He's got the locals done to a dinner. Chavog certainly couldn't do any better. And those Kiwis, boy, oh boy, do they seem to have plenty of victories at our expense. Number 3, Alf, 620 and 190. 6 Modsman, 840. 2 Chavog, $1.50. And that was the story of the horse racing Group 1 event. Overnight, motor racing held the fort with the Argentinian Grand Prix. Right, and not only the horses look fine at Renwick today, but also the ladies. And the fashions, well, I'm glad I'm not beating the cost of all of these lovely dresses and hats, but they certainly looked attractive on these beautiful women. Always a highlight of the spring and the autumn carnivals is the fashion, and as you can see there, the gents are getting into the act a bit as well here at Royal Renwick. I've got my usual Channel 9 blazer on. Okay, let's have a look at them. Race 6 at Caulfield. Number 1 Walnut at $3.50. It's a Giggle at $26. Danzig's Pleasure $15. Blazing Aura $13. Dane Quillo at $15. $17 for Michael Clark's Mount Drop Anchor. $11 for Tycoon Princess. Aboutsky $13. Persuasion $8. Amalfi Drive is a scratching. $15 for Gummy. $8 Torlina. Rosica at $51. For Rayon $26. Bella Vinda $34. High Vegas is a scratching. Nefertari at $17. Looks the Goods $51. Hot Peppers $41. And Father's Navadad and Marauding King were not required. It's an 1100 metre race. And as we pick up vision, we can see that they're starting to go into line, waiting there for Drop Anchor in the bright yellow colours for Michael Clark, TAB number 6. This is an 1100 metre race for 3-year-old fillies. And it's called the Avon Super Vobis Handicap. Drop Anchor is by At Talak, and he, of course, won a Melbourne Cup when trained by Colin Hayes in South Australia. All right, there goes Blazing Aura into line for Brett Pebble, still waiting for Drop Anchor, and I think there's 1 or 2 further out behind it. The boys are getting down to their work now. Coming forward also there is Torlina. No, I'm not. That was Rosica. Sorry, for Stephen Villa. Rosica in the blue and pink colours. TAB number 13. She's by Proven Villa. And that is for Rayon over behind there, the far one. TAB number 14 and Aboutsky here moving into line. Simon O'Donnell, have you got a fancy in this race?
Look, Ken, it's pretty much a toughie, to be brutally honest. It's a wide breeding race. Everyone's very keen on Walnut from the Hawke stable. Hard to go past it, but I'm going to go down the track a little bit, and I'm going to go with number 7, Tycoon Princess. Okay,
so Tycoon Princess, one of the Jim Marconi team, is Simon's tip. Biggish field, and there's one of the Graham Rogerson team there. TAB number 3, Danzig's Pleasure, and Alf Matthews is a rider Graham, I think, was going to Adelaide this weekend, where he had a few runners at Oakbank. So fancy leaving Sydney at Easter time to go to Oakbank, Simon.
I can assure you he'll be back by tomorrow morning when they put the hammer down on the first lot of yearlings that go through the William Inglis side. But, and gee, we're seeing a lot, and I suppose it's a pat on the back to the breeding in this country. You know, a lot of these good races, and I mean Saturday races are very good races in our metropolitan meetings. We're just seeing such wide open betting races where there's such an even lot around now, even class horses right throughout Australia. It's a great pat on the back to our breeding industry.
Okay, Razika coming into line there now. Just if we pan the camera a little bit, I think there's still just one or two more out of line. Coming up to join the line, that was It's a Giggle for Rod Griffith from the Peter Hayes stable, taking its position in near the inside. A couple more to come along, and then we'll be ready for the running of the race 6 at Caulfield. Righto, the boys have still got one or two more to rustle up. They keep producing more from out of my vision. There's the horse we started with, Drop Anchor. I said Michael Clark was running him. He's not. I made a blue there. It's Brent Stanley. We had Michael Clark up on our printed sheet, and apparently that's wrong, so I'm glad that was pointed out. Number 1 Walnut, Darren Gauci, does a lot of riding for John Hawkes in Melbourne, and of course, like most of the Hawkes team, he's racing in the All Cerise. Simon, I think we're all in now. Persuasion takes her place. That's just about it. The barrier attendants are ready. We certainly are, and so's John Russell. Here he is.
They're off. Good start. And over on the inside, Bellavinta commenced nicely in company there with Taulina, who was well away with Razika, going forward towards the leaders, Gummy. And Walnut is also up in the firing line, and so is Persuasion. Drop Anchor is just in behind them. And they were followed a bit further back in the field by Dane Quillo. It's a Giggle further away. And then Tycoon Princess, a length. Oh, Taulina's down. And interfered with a couple of others. There's 4 Iron down. There's about 4 of them. Dancing Splash is down. Hot Peppers is down. So a bad fall there, and racing up past the 600-metre mark, and Gummy on the outside, Bellavinta together by a length in advance here of Drop Anchor being ridden hard. Over on the inside, Razika, Walnut is up there in the leading group as they round the turn. Persuasion further back, followed by Blazing Aura, and back in behind them at the head of the others came Dane Quillo. Bellavinta on the inside as the leader, about a length to Walnut, who's coming home strongly, and Blazing Aura right down the outside, running on well, and Gummy is behind them, and Dane Quillo is deeper on the track. Tycoon Princess, Persuasion. Walnut is being tackled by Blazing Aura in the final stages, and Dane Quillo is joining in. Walnut won't give in. It's still in front. The top weight, Walnut is battling on courageously, and Walnut's going to win. Walnut wins from Blazing Aura, tight for third. Probably Tycoon Prince may have got there ahead of Dane Quillo in a photo. Persuasion back behind them, and the next home is Abowski, followed by Bellavinta, and then came Razika, followed by Nefertari and Drop Anchor, Gummy, and It's a Giggle. Riderless horses galore.
Well, Blazing Aura was going to beat Walnut 3 or 4 times, but the Procol Harum filly from the Woodland Stud team just kept fighting back in the Cerise colours, and she certainly held off Blazing Aura. Now, down the outside comes Dan Quillo and Tycoon Princess getting up in the inside in the Jim Marconi colours, and I think you'll find that Tycoon Princess has possibly got there in time to run third, but that's certainly not official. Gee whiz, when you look at it there, I was probably wrong. So we'll wait for the placings. All we'll do at the moment is stick with first and second. Simon and I are now joined by Mr. Reg Inglis, the managing director. I've got to get your title correct, Reg, of William Inglis and Son, and of course your big sale starts tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right, Ken.
Well, Reg, 4 big days?
Well, 3 big days, Tuesday, Wednesday night and Thursday out at Randwick.
Okay, and that's the yearlings, and after that, of course, comes the broodmares.
Yes.
But we've got a few yearlings to talk to you about, and I think the first one on the screen is a brother to Bint Masquet by Masquet from Eau de Toile. Bring a bit of money, Reg?
It will. It's one of the best colts that Jim Fleming's ever bred. There's no doubt about that. He's the brother to Florente, who's just been retired to stud. He's the half-brother, or the brother to Bint Masquet, who won the Golden Slipper. He's one of a really top colt.
Reg, the second colt we've got there, we've seen a bit about this family. Marauding out of Martins from Kelso Bloodstock, lot 183.
Yes, well, his brother just ran in the Sires Produce, won the Golden Slipper last week, and again, he's a great colt.
They've done very well, the Maraudings, haven't they, Reg? And there's some great types out there, not only this one, but a number of others.
There's a large, there's 29 in the sale, and you could nearly buy any one of them, Simon.
Yeah, well, he's a brother to Prowl, of course, and next along we have a Danehill filly from the Arrowfield stud out of Yatesina.
Yeah, well, he's by one of the best fillies in the sale by Danehill from Yates Sena. Very well related filly, and again a very athletic, very racy filly, who's a filly that might be winning the races here next year, the early 2-year-old races.
Yeah, that's the just coming up now is a colt from Yarraman Park. We've got a lovely draft of horses out there. Royal Academy Reg out of Estate Label.
Estate Label, yes, by Royal Academy, the sire of Piccadilly Circus. His oldest are only 2-year-olds in Australia, and a little bit of interest, he was the sire of Oscar Schindler, who ran in the Melbourne Cup. So he's an absolutely outstanding colt.
A lot of people like the next horse we're going to show, which is a colt by Lure from Prawn Cocktail, and the mare, of course, is a half-sister to Royal Academy.
That's absolutely correct, Ken, and he's had a lot of attention. He's an international sire, or international red horse that could be the top in any sale in the world. From Coolmore Stud, the great breeders from the Northern Hemisphere that are well established here in Australia now, and he's going to have a lot of attention.
He certainly will have a lot of attention, as will this horse from Sedgenhose Stud, Reg Danehill out of Princess Tracy, one of the top colts in the sale.
Absolutely. He's sired group winners in South Africa. Oh, sorry, Princess Tracy's thrown group winners in South Africa, Australia and Europe. And again by Danehill, our sensational sire. Absolutely outstanding colt. It's been very much admired.
And I think we've got one more to come along there after that, and I think it's...
He's an absolute cracking type. They've done very well, Sedgenhose. Again, a lovely draft of horses, and so have Cambridge from New Zealand.
It's lovely to...
Stone 9 carat.
What about this? This is the Octagonal family, Reg.
This is the Octagonal family, the one closely related to the horse that weighed 1.6 million in New Zealand just recently, and out of a 3/4 sister to Octagonal, the champion racehorse here by Big Stone, who's by Last Tycoon. So again, a great horse with an international pedigree that could be sold anywhere in the world.
And Reg, the half-dozen youngsters we just saw, that's just a sample of what you've got for buyers.
That's right, that's only a few. We've got 570 others.
All they need's money.
Absolutely, Ken.
And they can come
and
here
plenty of it, I can assure you.
And win one of these Group 1 races next year.
That's right.
Reg, thank you very much for your time. Yeah. We better go over and have a look, I think, at the horses for the Group 1 NSAT Australia Galaxy.
Yeah. Thank you, Ken, and thank you, Simon.
Thanks, Reg.
Reg Inglis. Now we look to the parade for the Galaxy, and numbers 1 and 2 are both scratched. That, of course, was because of the heavy track and Ken Grande and Guineas. They're both out, and number 3 is Flavour, and Greg Childs, I think, is the rider there, Darren Beedman. You know a bit about this horse?
Yes, he's last start winner, this horse. Jockey at the moment, Greg Childs, riding in sensational form. Drawn a little bit wide in barrier 17, but very relaxed horse, you know, just taking it in his stride.
Yeah, he's one of the main chances. Lee Friedman's had a bit of a lean time in Sydney over Easter. There's one of his team, Rock You, and he's got his stable rider, Damien Oliver, to ride.
Yeah, look, interesting horse, Rock You. He's won some nice races, Saturday class races, listed races, but when he gets to the big time, he just seems to be found a length short each time he does it. Now, I don't put him right out of the race, but I think he'll need a bit of luck to have his nose in front at the end.
Following along is Could Ye Walk there. The O'Sullivans got the money in the previous race when Alf won, and here's another Group 1 chance for them.
Yes, Ken, she's a nice mare, this. A little bit unknown to Australia, coming over here to Australia for the first time with the O'Sullivan camp. Obviously, they think she's a chance to bring her over here and give her a crack at this type of race.
But I think she won a trial as well, Could Ye Walk.
She's had 2 trials since the last run, so she'll be quite forward for the run.
Rightio, Masked Party is trained by Graham Rogerson. He's represented here today by his foreman, Scott Hemmersley, and Masked Party's a good honest sprinter.
Yeah, good honest sprinter. Look, barrier 14 is going to be a touch awkward in this helter-skelter race, but has some nice form behind Quick Flick, whose form this autumn has just been simply spectacular.
The horse with the jockey in the green colours is Toledo, trained by Russell Cameron. Originally it is from South Australia, and it was just pipped in the Newmarket in Melbourne by General Nadeem.
Yes, he's drawn barrier 8, this horse, and he's going to get back a little bit, but he'll be storming home. He finished his races off the best.
There's a speedster, Natois, Simon.
Won the Salinger up the straight 6 at Flemington during the spring. Been out of form last couple of starts. Wasn't a bad run in the Lightning down in Melbourne, but would need to find a bit of its old form.
Greg Hall rides number 9 Millwood, but the horse used to always be ridden by D. Beedman.
Yeah, I won the size produce on him in Melbourne. Been a little bit out of form his last 2 starts, but apparently did trial well the other day in Melbourne. So obviously the Friedman's bringing him up here. It's a good race for him.
There was talk that Hockney would be scratched this morning, but he hasn't been, and he's got a great record of 6 wins from 8 starts.
It certainly has. Another one of the Quest for Fame horses from the Inghams. John Hawkes, the trainer, Larry Cassidy on board. They're all in fine form. The question mark is the track, but he is a quality animal.
He's followed along by Unison, who hasn't run since January, since the Challenge Stakes. She's a lovely mare. She beat Dane Ripper a couple of times, Darren.
She did. The only thing, she's drawn barrier 15, and this race, it's a very awkward start, the 1100 metres, and I just think 15 alley, she's probably going to have to go back in the field and have the last shot at them.
Number 12, I really think this horse has got a chance, Simon. Gee, she's a go mare and a lovely big mare, Lusty's Bank.
Yeah, certainly is. Bobby Alyssa, you can see there, is up on board. Look, a mare that I agree with you, Ken Gibbs, 200% every time she goes out there. Don't be surprised if she's somewhere there in the finish.
Righto, then we move along to another Kiwi, 13. We'll see him in a moment. He's got dark blue and white colours on. Mr. Victory, trained by Bruce Wallace.
Only been getting beaten a couple of lengths in his last 2 or 3 runs. Been brought over from New Zealand by Bruce. Drawn wide again, drawn barrier 16, got Lisa Crop on top. Probably the task ahead of her.
That's Hot as Hill, just pipped last week, but in an easier race, Simon.
Yeah, in an easier race, but has form around Hockney, so if he can reproduce that, could be somewhere near the placings.
Rightio, then we get on to La Baraka, from trained by Peter Hayes. She's out of the former Oaks winner Triskate.
Apparently this horse has been working sensational since it come up to Sydney. It's only got a light weight, 49.5 kilos. Kev Moses, it must be a good chance for him to ride it at that weight.
He wouldn't have been eating much over Easter, Darren.
Not much at all.
Okay, Mutombo was number 16 in the orange with the black Maltese cross. Loves the wet, Simon.
Yeah, and I'm not about to question Max Lees or Chris Muntz. Both of them are absolute class acts when it comes to horseflesh, and there's pressure on today, and Chris Muntz, he eats it for breakfast.
And the final horse there, Yellow King, young Andrew Gibbons has gained the mount on Yellow King, a last start Canterbury winner, but that was in June last year, and he's at very big odds for this race. And, well, I got to say, I doubt if we'll be seeing Yellow King salute. All right, that's the parade for the Galaxy. There's still 6.5 minutes to post time, just time enough for a take a break, and then come back for the action in this big Group 1 sprint. The excitement of some of the winners of the recent big Group 1 races in Sydney, and I reckon that smile of Chris Muntz would take a lot of beating. Okay, Shane Dye is riding Unison in the Galaxy, just one of the 15 runners. I wonder what tactics he's got in store for this 1100 metre speed test.
Now, in 1100 metre races at Randwick, it helps to draw inside because you haven't got far to the first turn. You don't want to be trapped awful wide. I'm on Unison. Now, from barrier 14, she's probably going to have to go back. I haven't got much option. The only good thing today is the track's not real good on the inside, so that gives her a chance to win. Now, there's a lot of pace in this race. Horses like Hot as Hell, La Baraka, they'll all be going out of the gates and probably lead in the race. Now, a horse called Matomba, I think he's going to be very hard to beat. He's drawn barrier 1. Now, he'll get back in the race, but watch him charge home late with Chris Muntz on him. But I'm sure any one of the 15 can win this race. It's a fantastic race.
And here are the prices. Ken Grondane guineas are out. Flavour $17.30, $8.50 for Rock U, $12 for Coogee Work, $13.10 for Masked Party. Toledo is paying $11.90, $18.30 for Natois. Millwood at $11.30, $8.90 for Hockney. Then we move over to Unison. Shane's Mount at $15.70, Lusty's Bank at $8.60, Mr. Victory $80.30, Hot as Hell $20.50, La Baraka $10.80, Mutombo $6.80, and Yellow King $64.50. Simon Marshall, what do you want to tip to us?
I tell you, Kenny, just quietly between me and you, La Baraka looks sensational. Did win extremely well last start in Melbourne and has been given a little bit of time for this race. Had a nice little break. The Hayes Dynasty have brought her up here and aimed her for this race. Mutombo looked exceptionally well. 49.5 on their back. I'm telling you, these two will run it very well. Looked exceptional. I thought Rock You, he's dappled up beautifully. That means his coach just glowing, and he looks exceptional. Flavour is a very fit horse. Expect Flavour to run huge today. Mark's Party, he's done very well. Toledo, I think that the short journey here today just mightn't suit him, the 1100, but we'll wait and see. But La Baraka and Mutombo are the pick behind the gates, Kenny.
Okay, thank you, Simon. That's Mutombo in the orange in the background. And then following him up there is Hockney. Darren Beedman, who was that Larry jockey there in the red and white waving to the camera?
Mate, he just loves the camera, that bloke.
You could say he's relaxed, wouldn't you? a big Group 1 race coming up, and he's just waving to the camera and thinks it's just another day at the office.
Shane, I think his name, isn't it? Shane something. Okay, boys. Simon, I think you like La Baraka?
Yeah, I certainly do. I agree with Simon. Her last start win was an absolute beauty, and she's a quality horse. She'll get bothered in front. She'll want to be up there on the speed, but if she gets a little bit of luck, I think she'll be right there in the finish.
Chris Muntz is riding Mutombo. I think we've got we tracked him down earlier, and we've got Chris saying a few words about the ride.
You've got Mutombo. You've drawn barrier 1, an advantage.
Well, there again, the way the track's racing is probably not. My main concern will be trying to get him off the fence and give him plenty of daylight in the straight. He's a big horse, likes plenty of room to gallop, and he'll be getting home very, very strong.
You don't want him to get cluttered up from barrier 1. How the hell are you going to do that?
You just have to watch me.
Good on you, mate. All the best.
Thanks, Simon.
Nothing like a confident jockey, and there he is. And Darren Beedman, you think he's got a great chance?
I think he's got a great chance. This horse just never seen daylight last start with Jimmy Cassidy on at Rose Hill. If he would have seen an ounce of daylight, he would have been out and won easy. He's a beautiful, big, strong horse. I've never seen a set of hindquarters like him. He's exceptionally well.
And he does love the edge off the ground too.
He does, that's right.
Rightio, there's Natois, who will be one of the early leaders. A very, very fast horse. A lot of speed in this race, and I'm sure that's one of the reasons why Darren likes a horse like Mutombo, who's going to flash up. Early in the day, there was a theory it wasn't so good on the inside, but I've noticed in the last 2 races, Elf came along the inside most of the way, and so in the Country Cup, the race before that, did Yakina Bay, the horse who ran second. I think it's not as bad as we suspected earlier.
No, I think it's pretty well much mutual ground now. You know, with the the air sort of getting into the ground, being opened up, I think it helps a lot.
Larry Cassidy is riding TAB number 10. Hockney, let's hear what Larry had to say earlier.
Well, probably the biggest problem is the track. The only time he's failed is on a rain-affected track, although it was much worse that day than today. Yeah, we've drawn probably a better barrier, drawn out there, so we're going to be out in the better ground the whole way, and just hope he handles the ground.
And his form leading in spot on.
Yeah, he's a smart horse, and you know, he's most certainly up to them. Just whether he can handle the track or not.
All the best, Larry.
Thanks, Simon.
I tell you what, the jockey will handle the track. He's riding in splendid form. Let's cover another grab at these totes. Ken Grande and Guineas out. Flavour still 17.88, 90 for Rock You. Coogee Walk 12.50. Masked Party around the same. So is Toledo. Natois number 8, good odds 18.80. $11 exactly for Millwood. Hockney at $9.20. Unison has come in just a tad, $14.70. Lusty's Bank at $8.60. Mr Victory is an $88 return. Hot as Hell 23 plus. $8 for La Baraka, $7.40 for Mutombo, holding his place well, and $63.40 for number 17, Yellow King. I've got a feeling they're waiting for the finish of the Oakbank race. There's a race in South Australia, which seems a little bit funny. It's a long steeple to be holding that up for
I'll tell you exactly how long it is. It's 4,950 metres, and we may be doing this tomorrow morning.
We might be talking for a while longer. But oh, gee whiz, you wouldn't think that they'd be holding up the Group 1 race for a steeplechase, would you?
I'm telling you, that's exactly what they're doing. And the worst part about, too, just looking at these sprinting horses, they're all
on the toe.
All on the toe. They're all getting fired up. They're all starting to sweat, get nervous. Why am I here? Why aren't I racing? I mean, it's different probably in a lot of ways to a 1.5 mile race, a 2 mile race, even of a Melbourne Cup. You can see here a lot of these horses have now sweated up.
Well, they're starting to put them in. Hotters Hill, Millwood going forward, and well, they might. They're ready to take their places, and while I've got a moment, I should tell you that next Saturday we'll have the Sydney Cup on the Wide World of Sport. That, of course, is a Group 1 race. The Oaks, another Group 1 race for 3-year-old fillies, so there's plenty of racing still in store for you. And the racing show will precede the Wide World of Sport, 11:30 next Saturday morning, the racing show. Then stay tuned to see the Oaks and the Sydney Cup later in the day on the Wide World of Sports. Righto, these horses are starting to be pushed into line, and I can tell you the news that the steeple has just finished at Oak Bank in the South Australian country, so that's why these horses are taking their place.
I can assure you over 4,950. They didn't run the last 3 in 34 and a half.
I'd take your word for that, but at least they've gone past their winning phase, Simon, and we now get on with a Group 1 race. The Ansett Australia Galaxy, as we see the Russell Cameron trained Toledo in the green go into line, followed forward by Masked Party. There's Shane Dye on Unison, and Flavour in the black with the cerise cap. And last of all is Bruce Wallace's horse, which I think is called Mr. Victory. Oh, boy, I'm earning my money here today doing all this talking. Lucky I haven't got a sore throat. Righto, La Baraka's gone forward now. Mr. Victory about to take his place. And when he does, we'll be ready to go. No, Flavour's going the other way. The time is now about 4 minutes to 4. And this race was actually supposed to start at 10 minutes to 4. If you can tell me the sense in advertising a Group 1 race and just having them stand behind the barrier, well, I can't work out what the good sense is. Okay, the starter's on his stand. They're going to go this time. Here's Johnny Tapp.
To run in the Galaxy, the 27th running of the Great Sprint, and they're off now at a good start. Toledo can't go early. He went straight back to the tail of the field, away brilliantly, hot as hell. Quickly into stride, wide out is Masked Party, and La Baraka speeding through is going to head them off. Hockney settles down in 4th posse, followed by Rock You Notoire. In that bunch is Coogee Walk, and out very deep is Mr. Victory. Matombo midfield with Lusty's Bank, and then Unison, well back Toledo, Yellow King. Millwood has run off his feet early. He's back second last, and Flavour last of all. Coming around the turn, 500 out the leader, La Baraka. Hot as hell second, Masked Party, widest of all on the outside of Hockney. Rock You on the fence, then Notoire, followed by Coogee Walk, and Matombo in the all-orange colours is getting up on the rails as they come over the rise where La Baraka slipped them. La Baraka pinched nearly 2 lengths on Masked Party. Running on is Hockney, and then Rock You and Coogee Walk right down the extreme outside. La Baraka's in front, showing signs of distress. Masked Party trying hard to pick it up, but La Baraka's holding on strongly, and La Baraka's run them off their feet to win the Galaxy. La Baraka beat Masked Party. Coogee Walk is third, close up Matombo, followed by Rock You, Flavour, and then Unison. And just behind those then came Hockney, followed by Millwood, Mr. Victory, Yellow King, Hot as Hell, and Notoire, and the last couple of Lusty's Bank and Toledo.
8 starts for 5 wins, and most importantly a Group 1 win for this fine filly. 15 La Baraka, $8 exactly, $3.20 the place. 6 Masked Party, $4.20. 5 Coogee Walk, $3.80. They're the official New South Wales TAB dividends on the Galaxy. And La Baraka, well, they were never really going to get her. Kevin Moses kept her going. He might be in his mid-40s, but he's one of the fittest jockeys in town, and he kept La Baraka going right to the line, tipped by Simon O'Donnell.
I'll tell you what, Ken, you don't see, you know, a Galaxy, it's a helter-skelter race over 1100. She just went to the lead. She held the lead. She seemed to be doing it very easy. She found a bit when she